All right, so good morning again, everyone. I am honored to be here. Thank you, Pastor Nick, for the opportunity to share this space and this time with you. When I was thinking about Juneteenth and what I wanted to share with you all today, I kept coming back to a passage from Ephesians. So Paul writes, "For he himself is our peace, who has made," I'm sorry, so I'm an entertainer, so I know the mic is too close. I get it. "For he himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one, and has destroyed the barriers, the dividing wall of hostility." See, I've been thinking about that phrase all week, the dividing wall of hostility. Because if we're being honest, human beings have been good about building walls. We build them between races and neighborhoods, between rich and poor, between people who worship differently, vote differently, or simply don't understand one another. And over time, those walls can start to feel normal, like they were always, for whatever reason, supposed to be here. But the gospel tells us something different. It tells us a different story. The gospel is a story about walls coming down. And that's one reason Juneteenth matters. See, Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom, but is also a reminder of what happens when barriers are allowed to stand. It's a celebration because freedom finally reached people who had been denied it for generations. It's also a reminder that freedom doesn't automatically create equality, doesn't automatically create opportunity or belonging. Those things take work. They take people. They take communities willing to keep showing up for one another. See, we know the history. Most of us have heard the stories before. June 19th, 1865, when the word of freedom finally reached enslaved people in Galveston, Texas. But I don't think that today is only asking us to look backwards. I think it's asking us to look around, to ask what freedom, dignity, and belonging looks like right here, right now, in our own community. Because freedom, it doesn't automatically produce equality or opportunity or belonging. See, those things, as I said, take work. They take people. They take communities willing to keep showing up for one another. See, over the past year as mayor, I've had the chance to spend time in all kinds of spaces across Urbana. Neighborhood meetings, church gatherings, community events, conversations on front porches and in living rooms. And one thing that stays with me is how often people who seem very different on the surface are carrying the same hopes underneath. See, they want safe neighborhoods. They want opportunities for their kids. They want to feel heard. They want to know that their voice matters. And that's a lot more shared ground than we sometimes even realize. See, but at the same time, I've also seen how many of these walls we deal with today aren't made of brick and stone. They're made of misunderstanding, assumptions. They're made of fear. They're made of distance. Sometimes those walls come from history. Sometimes they come from circumstances we inherited and didn't necessarily create. And sometimes we built them without even noticing we're doing it. But they still separate people from one another. One of the things I appreciate about churches like Anchor is that you're choosing something that doesn't happen by accident. You're choosing relationship. You're choosing to worship together, to learn together, to stay in conversation, even when it's not easy. And I don't take that lightly. Because in times when it's easier to divide than to stay connected, what you're practicing here at this church matters. See, division gets attention, as we see in the news every day, all day. But reconciliation, that changes lives. I've never met anyone whose mind was changed because they were shouted at or argued with. And if we're being honest, most of us aren't changed by those arguments or posts or slogans. We're changed when we know someone, when we stop, put ourselves aside, and listen to the person that's speaking with us. When we care about someone enough to stay in a relationship with them even when we don't see everything the same. That's how communities change. That's how cities change. See, in my experience, it's how real lasting change happens anywhere it moves, person by person, relationship by relationship. See, for me, Juneteenth reminds us that progress is absolutely possible. It's not inevitable, it's not automatic, but it is possible, and that matters. Because it means that the work in front of us isn't finished, but it also isn't hopeless. In a small but meaningful way, what you're doing here as a church reflects what Paul described. You're refusing to let the walls have the final word. As we celebrate Juneteenth today, we should absolutely give thanks for how far we've come. But we should also ask ourselves a very simple question. What walls are still standing? What barriers still keep us from seeing one another fully? What divisions still keep people from experiencing the dignity, opportunity, and belonging that God intends for all of his children? Because freedom is not just about breaking chains. It's also about building community. It's about creating a place where people can live, work, worship, and flourish together. See, that's why I keep coming back to Paul's word, because he himself is our peace. Not politics, as I'm up here. Not our opinions. Not our ability to simply win an argument. We have to remember and continuously be reminded that Christ is our peace. And if Christ is willing to tear down the walls between us, then surely we can do the work of removing the ones we've inherited and the ones we've built ourselves. May we be people who build bridges together. May we be people who tell the truth. May we be people who choose relationship over division. And may we continue the work of creating a community where every person knows they belong. I want to say again, thank you for this opportunity. God bless you all, and I look forward to talking to you more. Thank you.